it probably hasn't changed for the better. Unfortunately, again, over the past 2 decades, we were willing to make any sacrifices that we could, just in hopes that future generation, that our kids could know a better life, that we could improve their lives, that they could grow up in a country that was peaceful and that they felt respected and that they felt safe in. Because we never had that. So we were hoping to give our future generations that. But unfortunately, again, we're back at stage one. There's nothing of women's rights, there's nothing of human right in general, no child rights. Poverty has increased drastically. More than half of the country is right now under the line of poverty. They're starving, millions of children who are starving and dying every day, and no one seems to care about it. Women can't work. That's half of our population who are not allowed to be a part of our workforce. And yet people the Taliban expect our economy to grow for some reason. I have little girls in Afghanistan who I recently talked with, I'm in contact with, who 10-year-old girls who were supposed to be outside playing and going to school, having friends, not having a care in the world, who have more concerns and more fear than any of us has ever experienced. They're fearful of being sold to child marriages, being domestically abused, being sexually abused, and they're only 10 years old. Child marriage, again, is the problem that I'm most concerned about because again, over the past 2 decades, we had made such improvements. People were educated about it, but now with the Taliban back, they don't seem to have an option, because if they don't marry off their daughters young, then the Taliban will just simply take them, and there's no knowing that what will their future end up being. So these parents don't have an option but to just give their children to whoever they feel will protect them. Otherwise, they don't know if they're gonna die or they're gonna end up being a sex slave at 10 years old. So yeah, it's probably not the best situation.
People are much poorer, but the international community, led by the US and the EU, have done an incredible job to avert a famine. They've been supporting programs like the WFP and other aid programs, which also supported a more stable currency exchange rate, which helped stave off food price inflation. And that's something we want to watch going forward.
It's a very hard question because 2 years ago, I was a student going to a university. I was working full time and I was sort of happy because I had family around me. I had access to all those things that as a refugee, when I was a kid, I was robbed of it. And then we were all pushed into exile because we believed in something different. And I don't mean it in a very romantic way. I believe in it in a more Afghan way, is where we believed in a better Afghanistan. We believed in an acceptable Afghanistan, in accepting Afghanistan. And now all those things have changed for me personally. So imagine all of that for all those people walking around, not just women and girls, but every person who believed in that. All of them are traumatized. All of them are waiting for the change, but it's not happening.
In the first year, Taliban banned girls from secondary education, grades 7 to 12, and women from work and independent travel without a chaperone. They forced them to comply with severe dress codes, forced women presenters to cover their faces, banned television serials, banned music, banned freedom of expression. I think it's clear that of all the people in Afghanistan whose lives have changed the most, it's Afghan women and girls. And in the second year, Afghan women were banned altogether from university, and a litany of restrictions introduced through official edicts, orders, and letters at both the national and local levels. Banned women's sports, banned from gyms, banned from public baths, which are spas, banned from wearing high heels, banned from wearing lipstick and perfume, banned from amusement parks, banned from walking in the park, banned from working in NGOs, banned from working in the UN, banned from beauty salons for their weddings, banning beauty salon businesses altogether, and as of recent, banned from taking the Concord University entrance exam.
Well, Afghan's life have changed in different ways from last 2 years. There has been issues with the safety, there has been issues with the security, though from the security aspect, what we hear from the ground and what the reports indicate that the number of armed conflicts reduced, there are less violence, and there are less killings on roads as a result of suicide bombing and all that used to happen during the Republic. So that aspect, there has, in a nutshell, there has been reduction of violence. But the safety component, and there are a high number of reports indicate that people are concerned about their safety. People are not safe because, of course, their rights have been taken from them. They are, especially for the women and girls, they are no more allowed to go to schools. They are not allowed to go to work. For the larger rights-based community, they had to close most of their offices, especially the organizations worked on advocacy issues and rights and democracy-related issues. They had to close their offices, and journalists they are not safe at all because they are either being detained, killed, tortured by different factions, particularly by the Taliban. And so that area is collapsed. The area where people used to feel safe and free, that area completely shut down since last 2 years, and people don't have that space to express their views, to be free, and to be comfortable in public spheres. So that area has shut down. On the other hand, people's economic and people are going through economic and humanitarian crisis. Of course, many due to reduction of funding, due to most of the offices closed their operations around the country, and people have lost jobs. So therefore, people are going through a very severe humanitarian and economic crisis, and that's another reason people are leaving the country in a very large number. And the third component is the lack of stability. I think, but based on my interaction with many on the ground, they think that, well, they don't know what's going to happen, because there are some small armed groups also that people mention about that in different villages and districts around the country. Nobody knows who are those armed groups, and they sense another scenario, another negative scenario of war in the country. So therefore, there's a lack of stability. People are not feeling secure also, because they think that there may be another armed conflict happen and in the country. So there is this lack of political stability also created tension, frustration among the people, and that's another reason of people also leaving the country. So there are different scenarios right now about the future among the country, among the people that they talk about, and most of it are unfortunately negative. And as I mentioned, the economic, humanitarian crisis, the suppression of rights, and a lack of safety and security overall, that has concerned people about their future.